Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Severe Storm Filmer weather forecast. In this forecast, we have a very active weather pattern to talk about, so let's jump right in. We're taking a look here at the trends over the course of the next 7 to 10 days, starting with this afternoon where we had several snow squalls across the northern plains and Midwest regions. This is finally starting to come to a halt now, but it is still very windy across these areas, and that's certainly not adding to the wind chill factor with this cold air coming out of Canada, which is actually bitter cold, by the way. You're feeling it all the way in this area right here. Just some very bitter cold temperatures, to say the least. Now, I do want to keep an eye on this as we head in towards this evening. The potential for maybe a sneaky snowy setup across the southern Ohio region, West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, and parts of Kentucky. I don't think this is going to be a major event by any means, but you could definitely get a sneaky couple inches out of this, especially if you live in this highlighted area here. Areas north of that will likely just get grazed, but still definitely something to keep an eye on through the overnight. Taking a look as we head in towards tomorrow afternoon, we're likely going to see this low pressure system kind of be north of the Great Lakes. It's likely going to extend an Arctic front. It's going to be very noticeable. Upper level trough behind this here. So this is your surface low. This is your upper level low. And this is going to be really hightailing the cold air into the country. All right. You're not going to be feeling it yet much across, the Ohio Valley. But trust me, in a few days, you'll feel it. We'll get to that here in a second, but just know ahead of this front, there could be a threat for snow squalls across the highlighted area, including eastern Ohio back into western Pennsylvania. There could be thunder snow with some of the snow squalls. Just know that. They could be kind of convective in nature, so definitely something to definitely keep an eye on there. And in the northeastern United States, there can be some linking up of the jet streams to produce maybe some accumulating snow. Something worth watching there as well. But as we head into the daytime hours there, or not really the daytime hours, but early morning hours of Sunday, I want to stop the clock here because this is an important time frame. All right, so you can see here, high pressure system just offshore of Florida is going to be dragging moisture up into the southeastern United States. At the same time, there's going to be frigid cold temperatures well below freezing far to the south trying to interact with this. Therefore, I'm not ruling out some southern snow. All right, notice here by Sunday morning, this is around 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern. Notice a little bit of snow showing there in the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, and Georgia. I don't think this is going to be a major event by any sort of stretch, but you guys need to be watching there, especially as we head in towards late Sunday morning. I actually do want to mention there can be a heightened risk for a couple inches of snow across the South Carolina region, back down and towards Georgia where those jet streams are going to link up. You could kind of see that there, and even some mix along the coast. That's definitely something to pay attention to. But once that moves out, that's going to likely turn into a nor'easter offshore, so no big impacts for the Northeast. Maybe some light snow showers, snow squalls for areas of New England, but overall not going to be a problem after Sunday evening. But our attention turns to the next storm system, all right? This is going to be another clipper coming out of Canada. This is going to be reinforcing even more Arctic air. Guys, this is going to be starting to get dangerous for areas of the northern plains all the way down into the Ohio Valley, where wind chills could possibly drop as low as negative 20 degrees, maybe as low as negative 60, as far north as, southern Canada back in towards the northern plains. So that's definitely going to be bitter cold for them. But as we head in towards Monday afternoon, notice as this low deepens, gusty winds are going to be blowing around across the Great Lakes region. And like I said before, as long as this low pressure system is here, this high pressure system is here, we are going to get a huge, and I mean a huge intrusion of Arctic air, specifically Monday afternoon for these areas right into here. I overcircled that terribly. Right into here, all right? You're going to really feel the air if you live in that area based on the pressure systems I just circled there. All right, so that's definitely worth watching. And we could also see some snow trying to sneak into Oklahoma, Kansas, and eastern Colorado as well. So for our friends down there. But as we head into the daytime hours there on Tuesday, the Arctic air is only going to continue to sink in, all right? It's going to be nasty cold across this entire area, and it's still going to be cold across this area even as well. All right, so please pay attention, especially if you live in this area, for the very dangerous wind chills that could come across this, all right? I mean, we're talking about possibly in the second area, dangerous territory wind chills, all right? I mean, we're talking about down to negative 15, heck, even negative 20 in some areas. So that's definitely going to be some dangerous cold for a lot of areas. And I mean, it is January after all, but it doesn't matter. That cold of air can definitely cause problems. And as we head into late Tuesday and into early Wednesday, our next low pressure system is dropping into the Rockies across, Wyoming and Colorado. Watch out what this does as we head in towards early Wednesday. All right, this is starting to make me a little bit suspicious that we might have a little bit of a sneaky snow event across Nebraska as we head in towards early Wednesday morning, all right? I could be wrong, but it's definitely looking like it's a possibility. I think it's more likely as we headed towards Wednesday afternoon as this moves east, however, all right? I'll explain, all right? I know this doesn't look like much. Don't let it fool you, all right? Notice here we got a low pressure system and a high pressure system. All of these are dragging in moisture, and all of this is banging right up against this Arctic air. So I would not be shocked if this is the solution where we have a snowstorm across the Ohio Valley and parts of the Midwest. This would be a big storm for these areas, all right? Because look at what also happens here, all right? So if that were to connect, you would also have to deal with this, which would probably be pretty deep in nature. So this would be a significant winter storm for this entire area here if this were to verify, all right? That's a big question mark right now, but it's definitely becoming more likely as we get closer. The models have been back and forth. I know it's been kind of annoying, but I mean, these types of patterns can definitely set up types of snowstorms that we rarely see. All right, some major winter storms. And you notice as we headed towards Thursday afternoon, I mean, this shows, a snow event down here across Virginia. Again, don't take this as a forecast. Take this as a grain of salt. I actually think it's going to continue to be focused across this entire area right here, all right? Again, you're not only talking about 1, 2, but possibly 3 big snowstorms possibly embedded into one storm system as we head in towards the next few days. I'm talking about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday across that entire circled area. And even as we head in towards next weekend, the threat of another winter storm sets up, and it's just going to be a relentless pattern. Especially, I'm highlighting this entire area in right here. All right, this is your snowstorm zone over the course of the next 7 to 10 days from what I'm seeing. After we're done taking a look at the precipitation trends, now let's take a look at our snowfall accumulations, all right, with each system, so to speak, all right? Notice here again, we're talking about that accumulating snow down here across the Ohio Valley. Again, not going to be anything too significant, just going to be, a run-in-the-mill 1 to 2 inches that could slow you down. Same with the Clipper system here that's likely going to bring some accumulating snow to the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. It's not going to be anything you guys can't handle. The snow squalls over here, though, can possibly put down some locally higher amounts, so I'm definitely not discounting that potential, especially across eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania. Taking this into Sunday, this is when things start to get a little uncertain for things in the south, all right? This model likes to show anywhere from a dusting to 2 inches of snow down here from Florida Panhandle back into parts of South Carolina. So that's definitely something to watch out for. Could definitely have some accumulating snow there, which is very rare, but it's definitely possible. And up here, definitely a lot more common, but you could see here some accumulating snow. Definitely a very big likelihood per se across that area Sunday afternoon. And then as we take it in towards Monday, that Clipper system is going to race across the Great Lakes region, accumulating snow, especially for lake effect zones, especially in western Michigan, where we could have some localized higher totals. That's definitely something to keep an eye on, especially going into Monday evening. And I don't want to discount this down here. There can be some accumulating snow down here across Colorado, extending into northern Oklahoma on Monday afternoon. Going into Tuesday, as that Arctic air settles in, lake effect's going to ramp up across northwest Pennsylvania up and towards New York. And in addition to that, we're going to be looking at this area here in Michigan. They're just going to continue to be belted with snow. And then as we take it in towards Wednesday, this is winter storm number 1, all right? This is something to keep an eye on, all right? Notice the swath of 1 to 3 inches of snow up here. This is only one model run, but like I said before, this is only the 6-hour model run, all right? So, we could take a look at the 24-hour here, and there'll be a bit more elevated totals for you guys, all right? As we take this into that Thursday, Friday system generally, notice, like I said before, generalized areas, 2 to 5 inches of snow. Again, if we get the linking up of those storm systems, that will cause a bigger system. And then as we head towards next weekend, the Christmas tree lights up, all right? So definitely a lot of snow coming to the Ohio Valley over the course of the next 7 to 10 days. And now let's take a look at what's also going to be noticeable across a lot of the country, all right? Probably the entire eastern half of the country will feel this. As we take this into the daytime hours tomorrow, notice how cold this air is, all right? You're talking about single digits and negative temperatures across the northern plains into southern Canada. You're talking about freezing temperatures anywhere in this general area in the central plains into the northeast in that general area. Down here in the areas of the southeastern United States, it's going to be rather mild, all right? It's not going to be, too terribly warm, but conditions could definitely be a bit warmer than average this time of year. And then as we take it into Sunday, notice here how we have more Arctic air moving into the country, all right? This is surface temperatures, folks, all right? We're talking about temperatures just at the surface. And you notice as we head into Tuesday, you're talking about temperatures flirting with negatives across this entire area here, or at the least single digits and teens, all right? It's going to be very cold with very cold wind chills as well. Warming up as we headed towards Wednesday, again, that battle zone is going to be crucial. Wherever that sets up, right in this area right here, is going to be that storm track for that snowstorm if it were to happen, all right? Like I said before, if a storm were to form, it would be around here, and yeah, there would be some sort of event in here, all right? Again, temperatures typically aren't, favoring it right now. You could see here on Wednesday morning they might, but as we head towards Wednesday afternoon, they really warm up. Thursday, though, this is when things really start to get interesting. All right, we got another pool of Arctic air moving into the country, and this one could be a bit more significant when it comes to those temperatures. And as we take it beyond that, things just become highly uncertain at this time. However, just get ready for just bitter cold and very snowy weather across this area over the course of the next 7 to 10 days. All right, everybody, that's all I had for you. And as you can see here on your Ensemble 500 millibar height anomaly map, as we take it into Sunday, obviously here's that trough swinging in, bringing in the moisture northward. Like I said before, a bit of southern snow can't be ruled out with that, but the real big thing will be the Arctic air that's just going to be spilling south. So much so that there's likely going to be falling iguana warnings down here across Florida like they've been dealing with the past couple of days. Meanwhile, we also have the opposite in the western United States, a blowtorch ridge for this time of year, dragging in the warmer conditions across this area. Certainly nice since you guys have continued to have those atmospheric rivers. You're finally getting a break from them, but not so much for the eastern United States as we head into Monday. Look at this, folks. This is literally the polar vortex dropping into the Great Lakes. All right, this is ridiculous, and this is absolutely going to be dangerous. All right, there's going to be just terribly cold wind chills across this entire area on the western side of this low pressure system, and perhaps getting into the Ohio Valley as that front moves off towards the east. And then as we take it into Tuesday, guess what? Not that much better. But as we take it into Wednesday, again, that's when we start to get a pattern change. Could we start to get, like I said before, an active storm track where we have that low pressure system kind of trying to kind of scrape areas of the Ohio Valley and give these areas a winter storm? That's definitely something I'm keeping a very close eye on. And then as we take it into Thursday, continued cold air across this area. This one, like I said before, there's a low pressure system riding here, has the potential of being a monster winter storm across this area somewhere in here. Basically this entire area, I accidentally overcircled that eastern part, but you get what I mean. It's just going to be a rapid fire storm track pattern here. As we headed towards next weekend too, you could see how, it just does not want to stop. All right. You could see as we head in towards Saturday that the ingredients are lining up for potentially a big time winter storm across this area. All right. So it's going to be an active pattern. It's going to be a chilly pattern. We'll get through it though. I'm Severe Storm Filmer. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below if you have any questions. Have a great rest of your night. Stay warm.